This is Diana Schad, Director of the Family Business Alliance. Joining us today is Matt Hylant, a fourth-generation member of Hylant, and Mike Hylant, his father and CEO of Hylant. Thank you both so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for having us.
Good. I usually start with asking you to tell us a little bit about the business and the clients that you serve. So, Matt, do you want to start us on that?
Sure. Hylant is a full-service insurance brokerage firm. We're headquartered in Toledo, Ohio, and we were established in 1935. Our core clients are in the middle market space, and that's really where we focus.
We're excited to hear more about your company and your company's journey. Could you tell us a little bit about the basic values of Hylant and what you believe are the most important values that Hylant was founded on?
One of the most important is definitely family. I think that's kind of why we're here today, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's really pervasive through the organization. I think that's one of the things that draws our employees here is that they feel that family culture and atmosphere. We have a lot of people that have flexible schedules so they can, be with their kids and enjoy that family time. And, another is hard work. We're a place where we like to get things done and we like to have fun doing it.
Mike, do you agree with those? Are there other things when you started the company that you were thinking about?
Certainly family comes first. That's what our clients, our prospects, our vendors, our employees identify most is the family atmosphere and culture. In addition to hard work, honesty, respect, and empathy are part of our core values, which we not only talk about it, but we practice it daily.
What are some of your connections to the community? Are there things that you or your employees do out in the Toledo and Grand Rapids communities?
There's a great deal. That's another focus of the organization. We just recently brought in a new employee in our office here, and that was one of the main things that she said drew her here was the connection to the community. We really encourage everyone on the team to be part of nonprofit organizations that they believe in, give back to the communities that we're in.
When we first started talking, you mentioned that Hylant has been voted the winner of the best places to work in insurance. Could you tell me a little bit more about that and how the employees have reacted to that?
Yeah, it's great to be recognized as one of the best places to work in insurance on a national basis. But the fundamentals of being awarded that is through a survey process of the employees. And for us, through the survey, we hear from our employees those things that we are doing well and they'd like us to continue to do, and some of the things we don't do so well that we need to improve on. So we use the survey and that as an opportunity to continuously improve as an employer.
How many total employees do you have?
Today we have approximately 720 employees.
Okay, so we were talking before. I see that you now have 16 locations in 7 different states. Can you tell us a little bit about those locations and any plans you have to expand?
Well, yes. Just recently we expanded into Findlay, Ohio, and then also in Atlanta, Georgia. In our space, in the insurance brokerage space, there's a lot of disruption in the peer competitors. And so Atlanta came to us by chance of a competitor making a decision in the marketplace. And for us to take advantage of that decision, we lifted up a team of individuals to cater to both Japanese customers and Chinese customers. And they just happened to be in Atlanta. They knew of our culture. They wanted to be part of our team, and so they joined us about a month ago.
Okay, wonderful. Well, congratulations on that. Matt, you and I were talking. I saw that recently Hylant's corporate headquarters got a new senior vice president, Jim Strengle. Has he made major company changes in this new position, and how has that affected you in your role?
He has. He's really been focused on something we're calling the CE Success Program. But what that really means is it's a recruiting and retention strategy for our sales team. Over the course of the last, 24 months, we've hired, 80 or 90 new producers, client executives would be their title here. That's a lot of effort and energy. And so Jim and actually a partner of his, Bob, have kind of co-led that process. In our industry, turnover can be very high in that position, but they're actually experiencing about 50% retention, which might not sound good to most people, but it's actually about double the industry average. So he's seeing some good success in growing our team here at Hylant.
Wonderful. Well, I see that you've been in business for over 80 years. Mike, what are some of the methods or secrets that you believe have helped guided your company to success through each generation?
Well, I think the most important thing is all the family members are in the business, And being in the business means that we roll up our sleeves every day like everyone else in the organization. And so it's the contributions of the family members that help set the vision and the tone for the culture. For instance, we have an award for our top salespeople every year, and it's actually a trip. And every year there seems to be a Hylant family member as one of our top salespersons that go on the trip. So for this year, Matthew is actually one of our top salesperson, as well as his Aunt Jeannie. So again, it's leading by example.
Wonderful. Congratulations, Matt. That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
How many family members out of your employees are working for the business?
Out of the total family, including my wife Tina's brother, who runs our Fort Wayne office, there's 9 family members in the business.
Okay, that's terrific. That's great that there's a lot of harmony, so that's good. I know you've had kind of an interesting history for a family business. A while back, the company was sold to a private firm and then bought back by the family. Could you talk us through that a little bit?
Yes. In 1982, actually, I was a senior at Miami University of Ohio with all the intentions of coming into the family business. And my father had a family meeting at Christmas and informed us that he had sold the business to our largest customer, which was Dana Corporation at the time. Dana is an aftermarket automotive manufacturer, but at that time in the early 80s, like GE, they were getting into other downstream financial services businesses, banking, insurance, leasing. And so in expanding their footprint into the financial services, they had bought the firm. Well, short 3 years later, they had a bank go bankrupt, they had an insurance company go bankrupt, and the board informed them that they needed to get out of the financial services business. So at that point in 1985, my brother Patrick, who's our retired chairman, bought the firm back.
Okay, so did you get involved in 1985? Was that when you started getting involved?
Yes, that's when I came back into the firm, about that time.
Okay, and you were the third generation, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you and I talked a little bit about other businesses that you've purchased over the years. Can you talk a little bit about how you've grown through acquisitions or through starting from the ground up and some of the areas you've done that?
Yes, about half the business that we have today was through acquisitions, and the other half is really organic. Several of the cities that we're in today, we just went there and planted a flag and started growing from the ground up, and in other cities we would go out and acquire and build from those acquisitions.
Okay. So, Matt, you are fourth generation.
Correct.
When did you get involved with the business?
It will be 5 years in September. It's
Okay.
gone fast.
And did you always know you were going to come back, or how did you end up coming back with the family business?
I think so. We did have kind of a family rule coming out of college that you did have to get outside experience, but growing up, spent 25 years being around people that everyone that I knew kind of worked at Hylant, so I kind of had to figure out what that was like. About 5 years ago, I was living and working in Madison, Wisconsin. My wife is actually from the Grand Rapids area, and we started looking at different opportunities. We looked in Ann Arbor and Detroit and ended up landing here in Grand Rapids, and it's been a great 5 years so far.
And can you tell us a little bit more about what you do with the company?
Sure. As my father mentioned, I'm one of our producers or client executive, and I also am the team lead of our employee benefits department. So that's the side of the business that I focus on.
And who else? You mentioned there are 9 other family members. Are any others here in the Grand Rapids office?
None are here in Grand Rapids. I do have a cousin that used to work in the business that lives out in Spring Lake, and he's actually kind of started his own little family business out there. He bought a company and has his son working for him.
Okay, well, wonderful. Well, with that many family members, what are some of the resources that you do to keep connected? Do you do family meetings or family councils?
Well, one of the things that we do on a regular basis, and it's every summer, is that we have all the generations get together for family vacation. And so it gives us an opportunity to spend some time together. The other part of it is we spend all our holidays together as a family, celebrate birthdays together. We're very fortunate, being one of 9 siblings, is that we all get along fairly well.
Are there any regular business meetings that you do? Do you do board of director meetings or anything like that involve the family members?
Yes, we do have a board of director meeting, but it's limited to the shareholders of the firm. But we do annual meetings with all our employees every year at every office and location. So actually, Tina, my wife, and I are just coming off of that trip. It's a 3-week stretch where we go and visit each and every location and give them a state of the agency. We talk about what our goals were for the last year, how did we measure up to those goals, what are the goals going into the new year. We celebrate employee awards and community service, as Matthew mentioned before, is very important to us. We have service awards.
We have the McLean Award, which is the person that made the biggest fool of themselves throughout the year.
I guess that's when you don't want to win.
No, and we have one person that seems to win it every year you hear, so we like to have fun with that.
Okay, that
There's
sounds
always a
kinda
good
fun.
story or two to share, so it keeps it fun and light.
Well, it sounds like communication is really big for your organization and for your family. Matt, do you find that even in the Grand Rapids office, that there's a lot of communication between the family and the employees?
Yes, definitely. I think my mother's actually sitting in the room here. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to share that with everyone, but she's sitting in, and I think she would tell you that she knows the names of most of the people here. So there's a lot of connection between the employees and the family, and as my dad said, it was actually one of the items I wrote down here is that they've been very good at establishing traditions, and one of those business traditions is that annual meeting. We have a fun time. We share, very transparent with the employees. They know what's going on. I think that gives them a sense of comfort, that everything's stable and moving forward and growing. So it's good.
Good. So what do you think, and I'll ask both of you. Matt, I'll ask you first. What do you think is the best part about working with a family business?
It's a tough question. I think the best part, though, is just being so connected to the mission and, the family. The culture is really built on being a family, and getting to live that every day is really rewarding.
And Mike, what would you say on that?
I would definitely agree with that. It is being part of something, and it's family, and it can be rewarding, and we can share in that reward together as a family.
So now we flip it around, and what's the hardest part, Matt?
Well, it's probably communication. It's something you have to work on all the time. You think you're doing a good job until you're not. But I would say communicating, knowing when and how to communicate with people is very hard. It's something that I've learned a great deal about through my experience with my next gen peer group. We talk about that quite a bit. What are the right times to have those discussions? Who do you have them with? Who gets to know different pieces of information? It's been a learning experience for me, but it's something I work on all the time.
Terrific. And Mike, what would you say?
I would say that the hardest part of a business, and certainly a family business, is the ability to build trust among the family members and also the employees. And it's something that I know can be thrown around easily, but you have to earn it every day. And trust is also built on the foundation of communication and open and honest communication.
So if you were to offer advice to maybe you've been around for a long time, maybe a starting family business, what would be some advice that you might offer to them, Mike?
First one I would say is never lose your dreams. The other one might be someone has to be the best, so why not you? And maybe don't let anybody tell you can't accomplish something.
That's good advice to have. Matt, do you have anything to add to that?
That's a pretty good list. We'll go with that one, I think.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for joining us. Is there anything else that you'd like our listeners to know about?
No, other than, family business can be a lot of fun. It can be very rewarding, and it's something that's very important to us. Obviously, going on 4 generations, we'd like to see it go to 5 or 6 or more.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you.